Omnibus, the thing that ate America. Checking the size and power of the federal government is becoming more urgent than ever. Mark Meckler, our old friend from the Convention of States Action, joins us to talk about balanced budgets, term limits, and limiting the administrative state. Good morning. Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Good morning. Same to you.
Now, you're in sunny, warm somewhere, are you not?
Well, no, I'm in just outside of Austin, Texas, and this morning it is 12 degrees, and the well has frozen.
Okay. Well, my old man would be proud of you. -9 here, buddy, but who's scoring, huh?
Well, I had to be out there this morning trying to work on the well, so you're in a nice warm studio, so I think you win.
Well, you've been digging for a long time. There's no doubt about that. And, I think about what's going on in Washington, D.C., what the Senate passed earlier this week, yesterday, right? And God, is all a blur right now. And then now Nancy Pelosi in the House, they're going to make quick work of this. Joe Biden's going to sign it. That's $1.7 trillion of just massive debt-choking spending. Is there more urgency than ever for an Article 5 Convention of States to deal with amendments that would check these people?
Yeah, absolutely there is, Matt. And if you look at it, here's the big thing that we got to look at. The Republicans voted for that. 18 Republicans in the Senate voted for this absolute abomination of spending that's shoving our country down the toilet faster than ever before. So that tells us whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, if you care about the financial future of the country, and that is the future of the country, then we are going to have to stop them, and we're going to have to put a balanced budget amendment in place, and we're going to have to put tax caps and spending caps because these people are never going to control themselves.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they're getting more and more powerful all the time. All you have to do is read the basic headlines. Even the mainstream media can't cover this stuff up. I mean, what we've seen out of the Twitter files is just frightening. And I think that's what people forget is not only are you looking at a convention of states that would open up an amendment for balanced budgets and limiting the terms of Congress, but you're also looking, I think this is extremely important, and I don't think it gets enough attention, limiting the power of the administrative state. And my goodness, have we seen an abuse of power over the last couple of years in this country?
Yeah, we have, and there are two angles of approach at this. Number one is putting term limits on bureaucrats and staffers.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people forget you've got bureaucrats that serve for 30 years, sometimes like Fauci seems like 100 years.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be able to do that. It gives them way too much power and way too much influence in Washington, D.C. So we need to term limit staffers and bureaucrats along with the elected officials. And then the other way is simply doing away with the power of these administrative agencies. The majority of federal administrative agencies, in my opinion, are not constitutionally authorized, certainly not according to your original enumerated powers.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court has created that power. And so we should be doing away with things like the Department of Education, the Department of Energy, the EPA. All of these things have state-based corollaries, and the states do just fine regulating this stuff on their own, too much, in my opinion. So we should stop this at the federal level, and we can by calling a convention of states.
Mark Meckler, president of Convention of States Action, joining us a couple minutes more on Need to Know with Jeff Angelo, Matt Kittle in with you this morning. Convention of States movement has had a great deal of success in the last couple of years. 19 states right now. And just for those who are not familiar with this concept, it comes from Article 5, gives the people the power to set amendments, to bring their state representatives together to propose amendments. There have been concerns and arguments from some that this would open a Pandora's box. What do you say about that, and where is the movement at today? Where is it going?
Sure. And the idea of a Pandora's box, people call that a runaway convention.
Yep.
And the first thing I want to say is, are you watching the news? Because
Yes.
Washington, D.C. is a runaway convention right now.
Mm-hmm.
The left doesn't need to amend the Constitution because they've had the courts doing it for them literally for the last 100 years. They do it by passing all kinds of spending like we're seeing right now, stuff that I think is absolutely unconstitutional. And so we on the right need it because we don't operate in that way. Secondarily, it's important to note that anything that comes out of convention is just a suggestion. It doesn't become part of the Constitution because the convention suggests that it takes 38 states to ratify anything that comes out.
That's exactly right. And you need 34, of course, to get to the position where you're going to open up a convention. So that said, where are you at right now? 19 states. Where do you see all of this going?
Yeah, 19 states. So we're well past the halfway mark. We passed 4 states last year. In the coming cycle, January, 43 states will go into session. We're, of course, working out there in all of them where we need to pass. We need 15 more states, and I think we're going to end up getting another somewhere between 6 and 8. It could be as high as 10 states this year. We will finish 2023 within single-digit striking distance of calling the first convention of states in history.
Wow, that is amazing, because I know that this is not something that happens overnight. You've been working at this for a long time. Are you surprised by the success? 5 million plus people out there involved in this thing?
You know, I'm not surprised, because I know the sentiment of the American people. I've been in 48 states in the last few years. We passed last year in Wisconsin and Nebraska and South Carolina and West Virginia. I think we've got Iowa in the docket this year. I think Iowa's looking really good for this year. So I'm not surprised, because I know the American people, and I know they're fed up with what's going on in Washington, D.C.
I think there are a lot of conservatives I know in the state of Iowa who would agree with you, and there is a good deal of ground support for this movement as you move into the next legislative session. We will see, of course, as we always do. As we always do, we're grateful to have you on the program, and look forward to talking to you in the new year, my friend.
Great talking to you, Matt. Have a great Christmas.
All right, enjoy that. Stay out of the wells, my friend.
God bless.
You too. Mark Meckler. He is president of Convention of States Action. And if you're not familiar with this concept, take a look at Article 5 in the Constitution. You think you're powerless sometimes? I know that the current status of the swamp makes us feel that way, of course, but we're not powerless. We can affect change in a lot of different ways, and one of the big ways, of course, is what the genius founding fathers provided for us, a way to do that through Article 5. Bring the states in, not from the top-down federal government, but the states in. Get enough states together, they can call a convention of states, and they can propose amendments to the Constitution. As we said, there are some folks who worry about that, think that that will open up that Pandora's box. Something's going to have to change, though, or the $1.7 trillion monster spending will continue.